So on the coast of Maine where we live, the Rosa rugosa has naturalized itself all along the beaches and the coast and on the islands, and it's interesting that originally Rosa rugosa came from China. I always wonder how amazing how plants travel so far around the planet and end up in Maine. So we've been planting Rosa rugosas here in Avena's garden. We actually have a beautiful rose garden here that's kind of oval shaped, and then we have a big, beautiful hedgerow. And roses are so, the Rosa rugosa makes a beautiful, beautiful hedgerow, and I highly encourage people to not just grow one of them, but to grow several of them. And the honeybees and the bumblebees love roses. I mean, on a sunny day when it's warm and the smell of the roses is so fragrant, you're just going to hear the buzzing of bees throughout your roses. It's amazing. And here we've had almost a week of fog and rain, so the roses are going really, really quickly. I'm about to continue to do a little bit of deadheading, and when you deadhead a little bit, you will encourage a second flush of the roses. This particular variety are multi-petaled, and I've been working with both the single petal ones and the many petals. And I actually realized for medicine I prefer the single ones, because when you have this kind of week of fog and rain, the multi-petal roses go by much more quickly, and the single petal roses, they just can withstand kind of the fog and the rain and the dampness more. So I love to harvest roses early in the morning when the air and the quality, the energy of the morning is really fresh and alive. And I'll come with a basket and I just gather the petals, and that's what we make our beautiful rose petal elixir from. Just fill those gallon jars with so many beautiful fresh petals, and then we make it with a vegetable glycerin and a little bit of alcohol. So you can make roses, and that way you can make just a full tincture from roses. You can put roses as honey. We also lay out rose petals to dry, and it's beautiful. The rose is such an amazing medicinal plant. There's a honeybee right there looking for a rose that's open full of nectar. So roses have so many different uses, and as we know, the fragrance of roses has been used throughout history to really help, to ease somebody who's sad, to really engender a sense of love and compassion. So roses obviously hence have always been given, bouquets of roses have often always been given to people in love, for people who are celebrating any wonderful special occasion of the heart. So when I think of roses, I think of the heart. I think of healing the heart. I think of really anybody who's in love or anybody who's sad or grieving or there's been loss. Roses are very, very comforting to the heart. So the fragrance of rose, whether you're using it as an essential oil, as roses in your bath, roses in your bath is a very special way of receiving the healing of rose. Rose, also the flavor of rose by itself in a tea is a little bit bitter. So again, it's a little bit cooling to the body. So I use it a lot in women's health. So again, when there's agitation, irritation, when there's excess heat for women premenstrually or women going through menopause, where there's hot flushes or hot flashes, rose can really help to cool both the physical heat but also the emotional heat that may be arising premenstrually or perimenopause or through menopause. So it's a really special one to use through those transitions in women's lives. I often will give rose petal elixir for somebody who's sad, who's had a loss in their life. They've lost a loved one, they've lost a loved companion animal, maybe they've lost their home in some way, or they're moving, or there's a big transition in their life where the heart in some way is aching. So for that aching, sad, grieving heart, rose is a really magnificent remedy to give. And rose also is very strongly astringent, so it's one that I'll use if there's excess menstrual bleeding. So a woman through her menstruating years, if she has a lot of excess bleeding, rose can be added into a formula. I also will give it to women going through menopause where there's a lot of heavy bleeding. Rose can be given also to women postpartum to also be a little bit of astringent to help ensure that her bleeding will eventually stop in a normal way. And also, for a new mom, how can you go wrong with roses? She's got this beautiful new baby. And for some women, there's exhaustion and a little bit of mild depression after giving birth. Roses is a beautiful one for her to use in her bath, or to use in a tea, or also to use like the rose petal elixir to bring soothing and comfort to her. It's also a really lovely one to use to help go to sleep because rose really helps to settle the heart. Oftentimes when someone has an emotional agitation or a lot of grief or sadness, if the heart in some way is unsettled, I always will give rose either by itself or in combination with other herbs that really help to ease and to settle the heart. And when the heart is more settled, one is able to sleep more easily. So it's a beautiful, beautiful plant to grow, and if you keep nipping off the spent flowers, as I said, you'll have more flowers, and then the second round you can, as long as they've been pollinated, you'll get the beautiful rose hips that will form. But for now, I'm really encouraging people to grow a few, or to grow a whole beautiful hedgerow on your land or in your gardens, to both support the pollinators, and also just being around roses is just so healing.